Hi, my name is Zach, and today I'm going to show you my current aquaponics system and my designs for the next phase. So, here it is right here. What I have going, it's just a 55-gallon fish tank. I just have two comet goldfish and another type of goldfish in there right now because there's not much growing in it. Right now I just have some chard, a little bit of mint, I got two sprouted avocados, and a sprouted mango. And basically how the system works is there's a small pump right down here in the fish tank, and it runs at about only 50 or 60 gallons per hour, which is enough to actually recycle the entire fish tank every hour. And that just pumps straight up here, comes through, and pours into the flood bed. And then all these plants just take up the nutrients through their roots and leave clean water, which then goes down through this pipe here, back into the fish tank. And also adds a little bit of aeration as it falls. I do have to heat it even in the winter. And that's what I have that heater in there for. I was hoping that the sun would be enough for it, but even in the winter when it's directly on it, it's not quite enough. I have mirrors in the back here, and those help reflect some of the light coming through this window here. And this is the only light source. The reason there's not much growing here right now is because in the summertime, you can see the awning right out there. The angle of the sun's too high for it to really come directly through the window, so it doesn't work all that well. And so I've taken out all the stuff basically from the winter, except for a few plants. All right, now let's get on to what I'm going to be doing next. And this is phase 2. Basically what we have here is a square greenhouse. It's going to be out in my backyard. I'm going to have 2 tiers of grow beds, and it's going to be pumped by a horizontal axis wind turbine. It'll be sitting up above there, which will power a rope pump, which will go down from that blue square in the bottom right there. That's the sump, basically, where all the water will collect at the bottom. It pumps it up to the top, and just following the gray arrows there, comes around and back through the front and drops down to the second tier, comes around again, where it will go into where the fish are. And they're going to be in 3 59-gallon oak barrels, originally used for wine, so they'll be watertight. And then the whole thing circulates back into the sump, and it'll go back up again. I'm not going to have any lighting for this greenhouse. It'll all come from the sun. This front panel here is going to be the only glass wall, and that's for insulation. Up here in Minnesota, it can get to -20, so I'm focusing on having the sun give as much light and heat as possible, and that'll be when it's shining directly on it. There will also be a glass roof, and that'll be interchangeable panels, so that in the summertime I'll have on a screen roof so that the water can get in from the rain and it won't overheat and kill all the plants. I'm going to be constructing the grow beds out of, or the flood beds, I guess, I should say, out of cedar, probably cedar deck boards. Unfinished, no paint or stain or anything like that. My goal with this is to have little to no plastic touching any part that also touches food, because even environmental plastics, your corn plastics or whatnot, they're going to leach some sort of chemical over their lifetime. And I'd rather just avoid that entirely and go something more natural. And so cedar, being very water resistant with its resin, is probably the way I'm going to go, because it's the cheapest, most water resistant wood. The glass is going to be a bi-walled polycarbonate, so there'll be a little space of air in between. That'll help a lot with the insulation. It's also one of the strongest of the plastic greenhouse glasses. I would have liked to get glass, actual glass, but that's incredibly expensive, and I just can't afford that at this point. So I'll just show you a little cross-section of it too, just so you can get a better idea of how it'll look in 3 dimensions. So the angle for the glass on the front is going to be at 67.5 degrees, and that's going to mean that when the winter sun is at its lowest point, it'll be shining directly 90 degrees at the glass. So it's going to maximize the amount of light and then heat that comes into the greenhouse during the winter time. And so then I guess I can go show you where it's going to be out in the backyard. Let's go do that now. Okay, so what I've done is I've just staked off the area that it's going to be. It's probably going to be hard to see on the video. You can see the line going there across what's now the fire pit. And there's a stake there, a stake in the back corner, and a stake up here, and then finally back in that corner. Total dimensions at this point are going to be 9 feet from east to west and 11 feet from north to south. I'm actually going to make it a little bit larger, just because it works out better with the glass panels. They're about 4-foot sections, so I'm going to go with a 12-foot east to west. That means I'm going to have to push it a little bit further in here. As you can see from the angle, this is going to be the lowest angle that's going to come over the house. I'll have the least blockage. I would assume no blockage in the winter from the sun. And I may have to end up taking out this gate just because it's going to be right up next to it, and I want to have maximum light penetration. I would rather have it right in the middle of the yard over by the apple tree, but unfortunately I kind of got overruled about that. So based on where the cables are that run through the yard, this is the best spot where I can dig in and not have to worry about any utilities or anything like that. I'm going to be starting construction here in probably about a month, and so at that point I'll go step by step and keep you updated as best I can about the entire process of constructing this, and the logic I use to arrive at my design.